I wasn't here when that happened, but
Okay.
I can tell you that, you know, I don't know that there were any allegations that he lied to Congress. And I think that's really the bottom line. You know, you can do a lot of things in your job, you can do a lot of things that I disagree with, and he has done a lot of things that I disagree with. But when he comes to Congress and he doesn't tell the truth, I think that goes to the level of it to become a fireball. Well, it's because he was either lying to Congress or he was grossly incompetent in his job. And if you look at the history of Eric Holder, he has a history of coming to Congress and not being completely truthful. He did it before he was an Attorney General. He did it when he was asked about some dealings in the Bill Clinton administration. And he just gets away with not telling the truth and just saying that I just don't remember. You know, that's okay. He doesn't remember. He might not be really great at his job. That doesn't deserve to be the Attorney General of the United States. I mean, you need somebody who takes these matters seriously. And the bottom line is that we have one Border Patrol agent who died because of this botched program. We have at least one person who was working in Mexico for the U.S. government who died or was injured because of this program. And we have numerous Mexicans who died because of these guns. And this is something that needs to be taken seriously. This was a terrible operation. Anybody who came up with this is responsible for really just gross incompetence. And I think it's our duty and responsibility to make sure that we... Absolutely. We actually started, this is a little interesting, we were one of the first offices to ask for an investigation in the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, because we actually had a few constituents who sent us a letter asking about Fast and Furious. I have to be honest, I had not heard anything about it. It was like one of the first weeks that I was here in Congress. And we just started investigating, and we started hearing about what the Senate was doing. And I immediately sent a letter to Darrell Issa, and I asked him to start hearings on this matter. I assumed Darrell, you know, the Chairman Issa had been already thinking about doing it, but I was one of the first people to call for those hearings. And we have heard from a lot of constituents. Everywhere I go in Idaho, people ask questions about Fast and Furious. They tell me to keep fighting, and I think it's something that is important to the people in my district. Well, it's going to be interesting. He's going to come before Congress. Eric Holder is going to come before Congress on December 8th, and he's going to testify before a joint committee of House Judiciary and Oversight and Government Reform Committees. And he's going to have to explain exactly why he didn't tell the truth in the Judiciary Committee. You know, to me, it's understandable, and I've tried to be as reasonable as possible with this. It's understandable that a person who's the Attorney General of the United States has a bunch of memos that come across his desk, and that he wouldn't remember those memos. I have no problem with him not remembering the memos, but he had a duty and a responsibility when he came to Congress to be prepared for the questions that were going to be asked. And he knew that Fast and Furious was an important topic that he was going to be asked questions about. And he was either ill-prepared, so what I call grossly incompetent in his job, or he willfully failed to look at the information because he wanted some plausible deniability when he was asked questions. And as you know, he wasn't asked a question once. He was asked a question twice by two different congressmen when he knew something about Fast and Furious, and on both occasions he did not tell it. We need to get to the bottom line. You know, the family of Officer Terry deserves to know the truth about what happens in this case, and anybody who's related to this case, anybody who had their fingers in this case, I think should at some point be punished in some way. I mean, this was just such a terrible idea. You listen to the agents who were sort of the whistleblowers in this case, and just the sadness that they have, that their agency, ATF agency, that they had so much respect for and they loved so much, was doing something that they knew was wrong. They knew that it shouldn't be doing. Selling guns to these people and then allowing those guns to walk. They had done similar investigations in the past, but they had always tracked those guns, and they always knew where those guns were going. And just to allow, you know, over close to 2,000 guns to just walk, and they knew that most of them were going to go to Mexico. Many of these agents just felt sick inside about it, and they knew that that was not the way to do a normal investigation. So we do need to get to the bottom of this, and we need to figure out who was responsible. And once we do know all the people that are responsible, then we need to make sure it doesn't happen again. I think they do need to listen to the 35 individuals, but I think also they're waiting, just to be fair, they're probably just waiting for his testimony before they make any other public statements. You know, and we'll wait. We'll see what he says.
And now, do you think that in the end he'll end up resigning over this?
I think eventually he will. I think he's not the best Attorney General we've ever had. He's, in fact, maybe one of the worst that we've ever had. I mean, there's so many other botched things that they have done in the Department of Justice, and I think it's time for somebody else to be leading that agency. You know, he's the highest law enforcement officer in the United States, and I think we need to have some competence and confidence in what they're doing now. You know, I'm not going to accuse the Democrats of playing politics. I think if you listen to Elijah Cummings, for example, when we started this investigation, when we started the hearings, he said that we needed to get to the bottom of this, and it didn't matter how high up in the administration it went. Whoever is responsible for this program needed to pay the price. So, so I believe that they want to get to the bottom of this. I don't foresee any of them calling for his resignation, but I don't like to be accused of playing politics, and I'm not going to in turn turn around and accuse somebody else. I don't know how significant. I mean, it's a large number, but you know, there's 435 members of the House. I don't know that you know that you can say is super significant. But there's what I think is most significant is that those numbers are growing. And that you know, the voices are being heard, they're louder and louder, and I think the American people are asking more questions now. And I think you will start seeing more and more people ask for this. But you know, I don't know that I can analyze it. They're not all accounted for, and I think that's what's the saddest thing about this case. It wasn't just the ATF agents, the gun shop owners kept calling ATF and saying there's something wrong with this operation. We shouldn't just be handing these guns to these people. So I think it's pretty sad. And people who were working on this, they knew that they were doing something that they shouldn't be doing. They were complaining about it, and they were just being told by the supervisors that it's okay, that this is the way we do things, and we should just continue to do it. It's not a good moment for it. I don't see how logically you can say that gun store owners who knew that they shouldn't be selling these guns to these people, who've warned the ATF that we shouldn't be doing this, that gun control laws would have prevented this. It just doesn't make any sense, because the store owners understood that this was a botched operation, and they kept warning the ATF.
And the ATF is the one that
it was the ATF that enforced the gun laws, and they were the ones who were forcing them to do things that they didn't want to do. So, you know, for anybody to say that gun laws would have prevented this, it just escapes credulity at this time.